Welcome to another episode of What the Truck. It is a spooky edition of What the Truck. It is October 31st, Friday, here in a beautiful day in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I am your host with the most. I go by the name of Malcolm Harris. Y'all, welcome in. It is going to be a lovely episode on deck. It has been a crazy month so far, but coming up, we have some phenomenal guests on deck. First, joining me is going to be Lewie Pugh, the EVP at the OOIDA. He is going to be talking about all the fallout from the ATA and the story surrounding it. He has weighed on this several times on different platforms, including here at FreightWaves. You guys are going to hear from Lewie and all the breaking news and details happening around it. And then next is going to be Braun, the CRO at C3 Solutions. Greg is the co-founder and CRO, again, of C3 Solutions. I mean, anywhere from talking about yard management, dock scheduling, you name it, this guy has done it. And then last but not least, a cool story out of the west side of the country, out of San Francisco, Veer Junja. He is going to be joining us. He is the co-founder and COO of Fleetline. Y'all, this guy is amazing, a USC alum, very young guy, but he's going to be a name to watch out in the industry for years to come. I told you guys, it's been a jam-packed month, and we are going to have a jam-packed show, and it's going to be awesome. Now, with this, normally we do it a little differently, but I want to get straight to the action, and I need you guys to look at this clip. Secretary Duffy is taking off the gloves. He is going at it. Guys, y'all, roll this clip, please.
A company can't hire someone and then do so knowing that they can't speak English. Huge problem. They should go through their own instruction course to make sure you have a well-qualified driver. And by the way, if you don't do that, well, your insurance rates go through the roof. So we're going to hold them to account. I also think we have to take a look at the shippers, the people who load up these rigs and send them across the country. There's a lot of interaction between the shipper and the trucker. And if you can't speak English, I think those shippers should be held to account to say, listen, I'm not going to put my load on that truck with that driver because they're breaking the law.
Wow. I mean, that is a statement and a half. And I want to just go right to Lewie because, I mean, this man can speak to it better than anybody. Lewie, you are looking good, my man. Welcome to What the Truck. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. It's going to be an awesome day, man. And again, thank you first off. I know this was a super last minute thing. So for you to be even able to be on the show with me means a lot. So brother, thank you and your team so much for doing that for me.
Time, so I'm looking forward to it.
No doubt about it. Well, let's get on into it, man. I mean, because you heard this statement from Secretary Duffy, right? And everything that's happened. Walk me through the initial thoughts, because you're no stranger to this, man. I did my research about you. You've been around the block and you've been around a truck a time or two. So give me your thoughts, just instant reaction from Secretary Duffy's statement.
Happiness, it's great. I mean, it's about time that we start hearing this from people in Washington. For far too long, I feel like Washington, D.C. has ignored truckers. They've ignored what truckers have told them for decades. And we finally, we have a DOT, we have the Trump administration, we have, our Secretary Duffy, I think our new administrator, Bars. They're all listening to truckers. It seems like we're getting some lawmakers maybe starting to listen on Capitol Hill a little better. So this is a wonderful, wonderful thing for trucking.
Now, Lewie, from your perspective, man, why does this myth that there is, quote unquote, a driver shortage? This is a tale as old as time. Why does this keep happening and coming back around, man? Why is that?
Well, unfortunately, ever since deregulation, we've been on this massive race to the bottom. And, by big carriers and the American Trucking Association and folks have preached this to fill seats with cheap labor, flood the marketplace. They've got business models set up on 90 to 100% plus turnover in their industry, which I don't even understand how that can work. But unfortunately, that's the way it's been for decades now. And it's a real shame. And it's all just to keep wages down and put butts in the seat for next to nothing.
No, definitely. Now, and you've seen this with the shifted language, because it was a driver shortage and now it's qualified driver shortage. What's your reaction to this? Because honestly, it kind of sounds like there's some smoke around this right now, man.
I got two reactions for you. First reaction, it's really funny how quick this changed because I just testified in July and on the Senate side with Mr. Spear, and he doubled down on driver shortage during that hearing. Now all of a sudden, my second reaction is they've stolen my line because I've always said we don't have a driver shortage. We probably, and I believe we have a shortage of qualified, experienced truckers. And why that is because hundreds of thousands come in, but they don't stay, as we know. There's this huge turnover. So they leave before they have the chance to get the experience to become really good and really proficient at driving a truck and operating the equipment. So again, we do have a shortage of qualified, skilled truckers, but that was my line. They stole that from me.
Hey, they stole that from you. So listen, I need y'all to get some royalties to my man Lewie, man. Cut him an NIL check or something, man. Let's talk real talk right now, because yes, there is quote unquote that problem with quality truck drivers, but like specifically, I know some people and a lot of people are just like, all right, there's more prevalent problems than just that. What is the real problem right now in trucking?
Well, I guess you got to look at it like this. The problems come from somewhere. And I'm not saying all the problems come from this shortage, but this shortage has rooted a lot of the problems that we see. Of course, nobody out there has missed the fact of all this English language proficiency, unfortunately, due to the accidents, due to the steps that OOIDA has been making, trying to get a handle on that. There's this whole non-domicile CDL stuff. Both of these things came right off the get, or stem from driver shortage and lack of training. Lack of training in our industry, again, stems from driver shortage narrative, because we got to hurry up and train them and get them behind the wheel because we got this big shortage. Driver pay. That's a huge problem in our industry. I think if we look, ATRI came out last week. That was the number one thing, driver compensation on the driver's side.
Yeah.
Again, it comes from this driver shortage myth of flooding the marketplace to keep wages down. All these different things we're seeing in our industry, a lot of it comes back to driver shortage. Now, parking issues and some of these other things do not. And of course, that's a huge issue as well. But again, for far too long, we have tried to regulate and legislate from this whole driver shortage narrative, and it's rushed people into the industry. We don't want to train them. We don't worry whether they can speak our language or not. Just get them in the truck, get them behind the wheel, and send them down the road, and let's hope they don't crash. We're putting profits ahead of people. And not only people who drive truck, but every man, woman, child on the interstate highway system, thanks to the American Trucking Association and big motor carriers pushing this for 40 years, is nothing again. And I'm saying it again, it's profits over people.
Profits over people. That's one heck of a statement. And I agree. I mean, I'm standing hand in hand with you because I completely understand what you're saying. I mean, this is a real liability, right? This is a real, let's just call it an epidemic when you have this amount of risk on our roads right now. So no, I completely get where you're coming from. Now, let's shift it now, because the OOIDA, the biggest concern when it comes to this and this narrative and what's happening in Washington, walk me through from your seat. All right, like, what is the biggest, I would just say, concern right now? Obviously, you've touched on it specifically, but really dive into what is the biggest concern from the OOIDA's perspective.
Well, I guess as part of this, that one of our biggest concerns out here is some of these rules and regulations that we're seeing coming from DOT. These are just, they're rules. This non-domicile CDL is an intern final rule. These things are only good as long as we have this administration or administrations who agree with this administration. If we get a new president, new administration, this stuff could all go back to the way it was. It could be changed to something else. So I feel for some of these steps that DOT has made, as far as the English language proficiency, as far as the non-domicile CDL, we need to codify those into law, which that's going to take Congress. Congress is going to have to make the rule. And there's some laws up there right now. Congressman Rouser, of course, has this bill that's going to codify the non-domicile CDL rule, which is a complete exact mirroring of the language that the Trump administration and Duffy put out. And I don't know, some truckers have gotten crossways on this, some so-called social media influencers. They got this wrong, and it makes no sense because they were celebrating when Trump came out with this and Duffy, and then a month later, Rouser's come out with a bill to codify this and make it a law. And by doing that, it would take an act of Congress to change it again. And of course, as we all know, it takes Congress a long time to do things. So I guess fast forwarding on some of that is a big concern on the Hill. The other thing is just getting Congress to agree bipartisan and get some of this other stuff passed, like the Truck Parking and Safety Improvement Act. It's been through 3 Congresses now. It's gotten to the House floor at least twice, and then they can't get together. We got to get that truck. There's one safe spot for every 11 trucks out here. We need that bill passed. The Got Trucker Act that's out there, which would remove the language from the Fair Labor Standards Act that keeps truckers from getting overtime, because since 1938 truckers have been exempt from overtime. Why? Because motor carriers said they don't know where they are, they don't know what they're doing, are they sleeping, are they flirting with the waitress, are they working, we don't know, we can't pay them. Well, you know what, as of 2017, thanks to the big motor carriers, we all got these ELDs, so they know where they are now. They know when they're trucking. They know when they're at the shipper. They know so there's no reason whatsoever we can't pay truckers overtime now. Get that language out of there. Let's pay people for this industry. Let's get some meaningful training for truckers. 1,600 hours to be a barber here in the state of Missouri. But to be a trucker, I mean, as you know, if you find a fly-by-night trucking school, which DOT is going to start looking at them, you can be a trucker and have a CDL in a couple days. I mean, it's just, this stuff's crazy. So Congress needs to step up to the plate now and codify some of the rules that the Duffy and the Trump administration has put out. And then Congress needs to do some other stuff, that's on them, like the driver pay and some of these kind of things that DOT doesn't have anything over.
Man, Lewie, you answered like 3 questions that I had just fired up and ready for you, and I appreciate it. And I want to talk specifically when it comes to policy, right? Because what would actually fix this churn and burn that we're seeing in the industry right now? Like, yes, the obvious things, there needs to be better wages for truckers, but are there other things that folks in Washington just aren't seeing and that they're missing the mark on? Like, hey, like, I am screaming from the heavens, this needs to change, or we're going to lose the industry as we know it. What do some of those things look like, Lewie?
Well, again, I think we go back and recap what we've talked about, and lawmakers just need to listen. I tell lawmakers, we want to keep truckers in our industry, and we want to make highways safe. The same things will take care of it all. Now, these aren't easy things. These aren't cute little computer gadgets to put on the truck that we think, oh, these make the truck safer. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But, there's arguments both ways on this stuff. What it comes down to, it's really simple. You have to train people to do the job. Real training. Real time behind the wheel. Trainers sitting in the passenger seat, watching them, showing them, instructing them, not sleeping in the bunk while the trainee's driving, like a team.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first thing. Train, 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 train. Second thing, you got to pay them. We have to pay truckers properly. Truckers' salaries have not kept up with inflation since the 1970s. That's how far behind they are. The McDonald's across the street from my office pays employees more than what most truckers make starting out in this industry. That's crazy. We need to pay them. And the third thing that we need to do is give them safe places to get a rest. to get their sleep that they need and deserve. Those three core things right there, in my personal opinion, as somebody who drove truck for 2.5 million miles, 25 years, is the first three things that we need to be hammering on: training, pay, and a place to rest, parking. You fix those three things, it will pay dividends not only in retention, but also in highway safety. We'll finally see the numbers turn and go the other way. That's what frustrates me all the time. I go to conferences and meetings, and they just show truck wrecks and how bad the accidents are, and we put more rules and regs on the truckers and all this stuff. Well, first of all, most of the accidents aren't even caused by the truckers, but we continue to put more rules on them. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, nobody wants to talk about these three things: training, pay, and parking, because they're not sexy. They're going to be expensive. They're going to cost people who don't want to pay for them, being big companies, big carriers, maybe probably big shippers and receivers too. They don't want to do these things because it's going to cost us money. We're putting people in front of profits now. And people don't like that. But you know who's been paying for it for the last 40 years?
Who was that, Louis?
Because the American trucker, because he sits around and gives away 20 to 30 hours a week at some dock waiting to be unloaded or loaded. When somebody finally gets a whim to do it, he doesn't get to be home with his family. He doesn't get paid for those 20 to 30 hours a week that he sits around. And then he has to work all day or work all night to get some load where it needed to be, and all these crazy things. But yet the American trucker continues to do his job every day, bringing us every single solitary thing we need, whether it's an emergency and he's bringing in supplies for first responders, or it's our Christmas gifts or our Halloween candy or whatever we need. The American trucker keeps doing it while he is treated like a second-class citizen almost by the people he works for and most of the motoring public out there. But again, these costs have been bared by that American trucker for 40 years. So it's time for some other people to bear this burden.
And it's time for some other people to bear this burden. Louis, you have put, like you said, to your point, 25 plus years in a truck, 2.5 million miles. And I want you to take a step out. Look at the next 5 years. What is that going to look like if the adjustments that you just talked about aren't made? What is the next 5 years for our industry going to look like?
It's going to continue down the same road. We're going to continue to have low wages, which will result in high turnover. We're going to continue to have no training, which is going to continue the rise in accidents, along with continued no parking. So truckers aren't going to be able to get the rest they need. And we're going to see more accidents because of that. Or we're going to see more accidents like we saw in Illinois a year or so ago when that Greyhound bus hit that truck parked on the ramp, because they have nowhere to go. So long and short, nothing's going to get better. It'll just continue to get worse. The safety numbers, all these things. We're never going to turn around safety. We're never going to turn around driver turnover until we look straight in the eye of the problem. And the biggest problems out there that we're seeing and have seen for years, and you can ask anybody on the road, is pay, parking, and training.
Louis Pugh, the Executive Vice President at the OOIDA. Louis, I could talk to you for hours. I will say, last question. I was going to let you go. I got one more question for you.
Sure.
A lot of truck drivers listen to this show. A lot of people, obviously, that are on the brokerage side listen to the show as well. But specifically talking to drivers, what's one message you have for them heading into the weekend and heading into these times that, are getting worse before they're getting better? What do you have to say to them right now, Louis?
Well, first and foremost, the same thing I say anytime I do any of these interviews for anybody, and that's thank you for what you do, truckers. It's a hard and it's a tough job, and it's a thankless job for the most part. But myself, who's done it, and Todd Spencer, our president, and my board of directors, we all appreciate what you do. Every single solitary employee here at OOIDA appreciates what you do, and thank you for what you do. But going into this weekend, what I'd like to say is if you're you're struggling with this stuff and it gets, it seems like more to bear sometimes, reach out to OOIDA, look at fighting for truckers. That's where you can find all the stuff we're working on advocating. Reach out to your lawmakers. Don't be afraid to talk to them, because that's what I hear so much is, I don't know what to say to those people. That's why I belong to OOIDA, or thank you. Well, you do know what to say, because I'm nothing but a truck driver. I got a vocational school education is all I got, and I can go test. So can you. Tell them just be professional. Tell them how the rules are affecting you. Tell them what you need to see change to make the highway safe. That's what you do. Get involved, grassroots, because ATA and all these people that are working against this, they got way more money and way more lobbyists and way more than we do. But what we got's voters and grassroots people who really do the job and experts on the highway. So reach out. If you're not a member of OOIDA, join. We are so much stronger when we speak as one voice, and be a part of OOIDA. If you see this, call into OOIDA, tell them you saw this. We'll give you a $10 off your fee for joining. So just tell them you saw Lewie on FreightWaves, and you'll get $10 off. And but beyond that, thank you. I hope you all get home for the weekend and have a very safe weekend. And just thank you so much for what you do, truckers, to keep this country going.
Lewie Pugh again with OOIDA. Hey, Lewie, thank you so much for being on the show, man. I mean, you are one of one, second to none. This was one of the best segments we've had on the show. I really appreciate it, brother. Definitely hop back on soon, all right?
Thanks, Malcolm, and I've enjoyed it myself. We really appreciate it here, and anytime we'll get on. And again, thanks to all the truckers out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Lewie. A great segment. Anytime I can have Lewie on the show, or somebody that is in the space that is just first charismatic, right? And being able to bring energy and being able to bring things that, obviously like I embody, but I want to go straight to the source for you guys. And that's amazing. And I'm just super excited and grateful that Lewie was able to share some insight. And we have more content coming up with different folks. And of course, this month, as well as today's show, would not be possible without the great team at Descartes Macro Point.
Trusted by shippers and preferred by brokers, Descartes Macro Point is the industry's best transportation visibility and risk monitoring platform. Deliver confidence with real-time insights and automated alerts to keep freight moving and your customers informed. Less risk, more connectivity. That's Descartes Macro Point. Visibility you can trust.
Every load matters when it comes to your reputation. That's why the world's top companies rely on Descartes Macro Point for visibility and risk monitoring. Keep customers confident, freight moving, and operations in sync. Descartes Macro Point, visibility that you can trust. Again, thank you to Descartes Macro Point for the entire month of October. If you have not checked out our newsletter from What the Truck, they are the sponsor of that too, and it was awesome. It dropped yesterday. For those that have not seen it, go get it ASAP. And coming on next is going to be a guy, we had a pre-show call this week. Man, I was obsessed with this guy. He is really cool. I want to first kind of give an introduction. This year is going to mark the 25 years of innovation for C3 Solutions. It's a company that has helped redefine how docks and yards run across North America. Today, we're going to be diving into C3's latest platform, C3 Hive. And it's bringing the industry, when it comes to new era and real-time collaboration, together. And we are joined by the CRO right now at C3 Solutions, Mr. Greg Braun. Greg, what is up, sir? How are you?
I'm doing great, Malcolm. Unfortunately, it seems like we've got a bit of a fire alarm going on in our building here. I'm hoping this is temporary, so let's see if we can ride with this.
No, that is all good. We will try and get through it, and I appreciate you for being here. Of course, a fire alarm would go off on Halloween. That's some crazy stuff, but we'll...
Exactly, what's going on here? Anyway.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Well, I'll kind of drive the tempo a little bit as we kind of get the fire alarm situation under control. And again, first off, congratulations, right? When it comes to 25 years, that's awesome. When you look back at this journey specifically, what's allowed C3 to stay ahead of the curve, right? Stay innovative, but then also be fast moving when it comes to logistics as well as supply chain. What does that look like?
Well, I mean, Malcolm, I think it's primarily been due to the focus that we've had because we're a company that's been throughout our history, our 25-year history, focused on the area of yard management and dock scheduling. And if you look back, like 25 years ago, we were starting in the .com bubble, which yard management was probably the least .com-ish you could get. So throughout that time period, we've been just constantly reinvesting in our product, and that's allowed us to kind of stay ahead of things and being able to kind of relate the best practices and so forth that we gained and communicate those and get those over to our customers.
Completely understand that. Now, specifically speaking, let's talk a little bit about from silos to synergy because I saw this. Excuse me, something just came. We got fire alarms. I'm about to strangle and die on the show this morning. We got to get it together. We got to get it together. I love this line though. Seriously, from silos to synergy. What silos exist in dock and yard operations right now, and how does C3 Hive break this down essentially when it comes to these silos?
Well, you know what? I mean, the yard has always been a silo, and I think it still is a silo for the most part. And the way that we're able to break that down is, and we have been throughout our history, is that we're able to take the integration, be able to integrate into the other systems. Because I mean, yard sits between everything. It sits between the WMS, it sits between the TMS. So we're able to kind of provide that integration. And then also with products like our C3 Hive, we're able to give a lot more visibility to the operation from drivers that are arriving on site, and then obviously being able to communicate with yard drivers and the rest of the actors on the yard in real time.
And when you talk about real-time collaboration specifically, what does this look like for users on the ground when it comes from shippers, carriers, yard managers, even drivers? What does this collaboration specifically look like to your point that you just made?
Well, again, if you look at kind of a traditional yard operation, one that's not been automated, you've got yard drivers who are pretty much running, operating on their own, usually communicating the rest of the business through two-way radios and using clipboards. Well, now you've got everybody on the same page, on the same platform. Right. So you've got on the inbound side of things, you've got inbound that needs to bring in their products with their different priorities and so forth. And you've got the outbound schedules as well. Most of our customers are servicing retail stores and so forth. So you've got all kinds of specific requirements there. And so yeah, now we're able to optimize all these people and put everyone on the same page and optimize things as much as possible.
Now, I know that communication breakdowns in our space, they happen time in and time out, right? I mean, it's just natural and given what the space is and how fast paced it is, right? Specifically, how does C3 Hive help eliminate this kind of dwell time and kind of, I would say, buffer of communication? What does that look like specifically?
Well, again, when we're talking about dock scheduling, we're talking about, I mean, it is effectively a communication issue, right? So,
Right.
I mean, a lot of ways that we're able to improve that communication problem. I mean, our customers are able to systemically communicate to their suppliers, which are the most, highest priority products and so forth. So that they can, say if they've got a promotion going on or what have you, they're able to ensure that is the product that gets in in a very timely manner. With the carriers, where they're able to stay in constant contact with the operation to know that, what the current real-time availability is in terms of appointments and so forth. And they're able to also communicate, if they run into any exceptions on their side, as well as, once they arrive on site, we're able to keep in contact and help guide them through the facility once they.
Let's dig into C3 Hive's specific core features. Real-time ETAs, automated alerts, driver self-service change, for just overall the game out there, right? Like, how does it specifically change what you're able to do for your customers and partners that work for you all and with you all?
Again, the way some of the key features on C3 Hive is is, as I mentioned, drivers are able to kind of communicate, essentially use the same concept as when we're arriving at the airports, they're able to do that pre-check-in. So they're able to do a pre-check-in, communicate any exceptions that they have to our customers. So that's a huge plus, both for the driver and for our customers, obviously, because now we can react to any kind of any of those exceptions that I mentioned. We can say, if a driver is going to be late, there's invariably always going to be other drivers that showed up early. So we're able to bring those guys in, potentially bring them in sooner if, say, we've got some delays from other drivers. So that's a huge win. And we're also able then, once the drivers do arrive on site, we're able to kind of effectively and as efficiently as possible communicate with them on site. So we're able to, so we no longer have to worry about not knowing where that driver is. Do we, can we communicate to him properly to make sure they know where they need to go when they arrive on site? Because a lot of times driver arrives to a large site, it's the first time they've ever been there. How can we easily communicate to them so that they're able to know what they're doing, basically? And then the other side of things as well is with our automated workflows, a lot of this communication that I just mentioned to you, this happens just automatically as events occur in the system. So as doors become available, messages go out, and so forth.
Now, you shared specific metrics, right, from C3's 2025 market report. It was a 30% reduction in operational errors through unified data. What is behind all this success, Greg?
I mean, it does come from basically three different areas. One of the key ones is that, just that whole real-time visibility across the yard and the dock. I mean, that in itself gives us the ability to improve things dramatically, obviously, to optimize things. Again, as I mentioned, when drivers are late, we can reschedule, bring in other drivers who showed up early. That's a huge benefit. Also, we have our intelligent automation, which improves things dramatically as well, minimizes the risk of human errors. So again, a typical scenario we'll see with, say, customers in the grocery industry, you've got a backhaul that's come in. It's got, we unload that backhaul. It's got dunnage now. We need to clear that dunnage before we can reload the trailer. Well, invariably, those kind of things, at the busiest times, that trailer gets parked up in an area where we don't normally expect it to be parked. That gets overlooked. Now we're in a crunch. Where are those trailers? And by using our automation, the system is able to bring those trailers in automatically as either, as the resources free up. So as doors open up, now we're able to, the system has identified that, hey, this is a vehicle that has, let's say, dunnage on it, regardless of where it's been parked. The system will just send out that automated task, bring in a driver, and avoid those kind of delays and a lack of utilization of resources. Thank goodness the fire alarm has gone off. Jeez.
No, and listen, first off, you're an absolute champ for getting through that first portion of the interview. I thought it was going to happen a little sooner, but for you to get through that is a pro's pro. So Greg, thank you, from the bottom of my heart. That was awesome, man. And we got through it. You did extremely well. Didn't budge one time. I appreciate you. So I'm giving you a salute here. But then also, I want you to talk through, when it comes to this with me specifically, right? There's a lot of AI fatigue. Everybody talked about it. F3, it was a topic of discussion. I mean, it's something that you cannot avoid. So I want to talk about this specifically when it comes to C3 Hive. How is this kind of incorporated within C3 Hive? And are we just talking about predictive analytics and impact? Are we talking about automated decision support? Are we talking full-on autonomy within the operation? What specifically does this look like for C3 Hive?
Well, yeah, and I'll also refer to C3, our core C3 product as well, Malcolm, C3 Hub. And yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of AI fatigue out there. And essentially the way that C3 leverages AI is we have some optimization agents that we run on our standard yard product. So effectively what we're doing is using that on our yard driver activity. So we're ensuring that we've got the right task assigned to the right driver at the right time. So, our rule-based AI engine, it's constantly analyzing trailer priorities, stock schedules, and equipment status, as well as driver availability to intelligently sequence those dispatch tasks. So that's obviously going to be eliminating a lot of inefficiencies, like idle time and redundant moves and manual reassignment. So what's, I guess what really sets it apart is it's not static. And the system is constantly learning and adapts to real times based on the actual driver performance and task completions and so forth. So, if a driver is, for whatever reason, is having a bad day, the system is going to know that, hey, this, we're going to maybe, assign more tasks to this other driver that's having, being much more productive or what have you. So the system is constantly analyzing that and learning. So that's the key areas that we use AI right now within our product. That's and we're constantly, improving that things as well.
Greg Braun, the CRO at C3 Solutions. Greg, cannot wait to have you in studio here in Chattanooga. I feel that we're going to definitely have more questions and some more unfinished business, man. I really appreciate you being on the show and giving us more insight about the organization. And again, congrats on 25 years. It's clear why you guys are an industry leader, and can't wait to have more information from you guys. Thank you so much, man.
Right. Thank you, Malcolm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, Greg Braun representing, the CRO at C3 Solutions, did an excellent job. And now our final interview, I wanted to bring this guy. He was actually placed, you guys know this man very well, Adam Wingfield, believe it or not. He was like, hey, got a guy. I think you guys would really, really get along. And I was like, man, yeah, I think so too. I think he would be really awesome. And I'm here to let you guys decide, because this guy is super, super, super sharp. Veer Junja, the co-founder at Fleetline, is going to be joining me. Veer, USC's finest. What's up, man?
Hey, Malcolm. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. Happy Halloween, man. Hope you're having a great day so far on the West Coast.
You have any fun Halloween plans?
Man, I might go to a little party tonight, man, but nothing too crazy. What about yourself?
Nothing for me, man. Back to the grind, unfortunately, right now. But do you have any fun costumes?
Oh man, I can't give that up. I gotta just post it on Instagram and let it fly, man.
Okay, all right.
That's awesome, man. So I did some research, man, and you're newer in the industry because, I mean, man, you're young, man. I mean, you have done quite a lot in a little bit of time. You've co-founded Fleetline. What's inspired you to tackle logistics tech at such a young age, and really where in an area, I mean, you're in the Bay. Listen, dreams can absolutely flourish or dreams can die in a hurry. Why the Bay, and why this early kind of mindset when it comes to this space right here, right now?
Well, I think like a few pieces of context is like, one, I do have some level of connection to logistics and trucking. There have been people in my family who have run trucking fleets since I was about like 13, 14. And so I did get a lot of firsthand experience through that. But I think the second and more important set of experiences was that I have just always been extremely entrepreneurial. I grew up in the Bay Area, like you mentioned, and everyone and their moms is running a tech startup by the age of like 16 or 17.
Oh yeah.
So, so my high school best friend and I had done like 2 or 3 startups together. By this point, we decided we wanted to do something really venture scale. And really the best way to do that is to spot inefficiencies that aren't being served. And often that's carrier side tech. There's a lot of people building for brokers, not a lot of people building for carriers. We knew we wanted to fill that gap in the market, and we jumped headfirst into it.
And you jumped headfirst into debating. Man, you are a national debate champion. Is that true or false, Veer?
So that is true on a technicality. So I was at the national debate tournament second overall, but the person who ranked ahead of me was not a debater, and this is like a very long story to explain. But let's say like on the record books, I'll come up as second, and in my heart, I'll come up as first.
Okay, awesome. Well, listen, to me, you're first because obviously you've made it this far. You've made waves within the space. Walk me through that time at USC. How has that helped you kind of cultivate your business and other things that you've done along the way? What does that look like for you specifically, Veer?
Well, like debate has been absolutely critical for almost everything that I've done, particularly Fleetline. And so it's like one on the sales end. If you debate competitively for a very long time, I did it for 8 years, and at like international and national levels, you gain an intuition for what is persuasive at particular moments, and that helps you a lot when you're having conversations with people who might be interested in buying your product but need a little bit of push over the edge. The other thing is debate sort of frames your mind in a way that allows you to think very clearly. You think very analytically, you think step by step, and as such, when I'm making large level decisions for Fleetline and the direction of the company, I'm able to weigh both the pros and cons, evaluate both sides of it, and then hopefully make the most pragmatic decision from there.
Let's talk Fleetline for just a little bit because this is designed, quote unquote, to give planners superpowers, right? Can you walk us through the platform and how this helps carriers optimize their routes, fleets, and just overall operations when it comes down to it, Veer?
Right. So the core technology behind Fleetline is a planning engine that basically ingests all of a driver's loads, all of a fleet's loads, and all of a fleet's drivers, and runs a lot of really complex math and runs billions of permutations of ways to organize that fleet, picks the best ones that are going to maximize revenue, minimize deadhead, or whatever KPI the fleet wants to maximize, and will showcase that set of recommendations to the planners and dispatchers. The planners and dispatchers then look at an interface that wraps all of these recommendations in an easy to understand way, and then they approve, disapprove, or re-optimize to get a new set of recommendations. So this like one gives you like very, very good recommendations that are backed by really complex math, and two makes planning a lot easier because you yourself are not having to do a lot of these complex calculations, and AI and interface will do it for you.
Veer, let's talk about sudden changes in this space specifically, because as you know, it always happens. There's change at the drop of a dime. How does Fleetline prepare, when it comes to those changes in demand, when it comes to freight patterns, operations as a whole? How does that preparation take place?
Well, I think planning and optimization is just something that is absolutely needed, whether you're in a bull or bear market. In a bull market and in a growing market, you need to know first. You need to know when you want to reject those tenders, when you want to go to the spot market, when you want to wean a little bit off of your contracts, when you don't want to re-up a new contract. You can only know that proactively if you have some sort of algorithmic system that is indexing over the entire market. And so that is why, like, when the market turns, it's absolutely critical to have this sort of technology in place. But right now, like technology that automates significant portions of your operations helps you cut overhead in times where you need to squeeze out as much margin as you can. So planning and optimization is something that I view as like a necessary technology in all phases of the market.
Definitely. All right, my last question. We got about 30 seconds. When it comes to the next 3 to 5 years, Fleetline, yourself, where are you guys going? You tell me.
Man, we're just taking it one day at a time right now. We have our initial great set of customers. We are doing really well with them. They love our product, and we're going to keep making it better and better for them, and hopefully keep growing from there. Nothing too grand, but just really making sure we fulfill our promises to customers.
Veer Junja, again, the COO and co-founder of Fleetline. Veer, thank you so much, brother. I am so happy that you were able to hop on What the Truck with me, man. Thank you again.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Yo, that show was amazing, and it's a minute left in the show, so let's talk about the road ahead here on Halloween. Looking ahead to Monday, y'all, this is a recap from F3, and this is a show that you do not want to miss. A three-piece. I'm talking EVP of Market Strategy from Triumph, Garrett Wolf. From PCS, the Chief Product Officer, Danielle Villegas. And of course, from UFS, the Innovation and VP of Business Strategy, Daniel Lucas is going to be joining the show. Guys, have a safe, have a fun, and have an awesome Halloween. I'm your host, Malcolm Harris. It is another episode of What the Truck. I'll see you guys. Peace.